When I think about my uncle, Kwame Brathwaite, he's come a long way, now. Right now, I've been to 4 countries with him, 2 different continents, and I see how people receive him and his artwork and his photography. But I like to think about the early years of my Uncle Kwame, from the childhood, He was special because, for one, he's a New Year's baby. He's born on January 1st, 1938. And he was destined to be an artist because my grandfather, Cecil Theophilus Brathwaite, was also an artist. Although he was a businessman, he was also an artist. And he spent a lot of time with my father, Louise Dente, and my uncle, Kwame Brathwaite, teaching them the foundations of art. My uncle, Kwame, he took a very early liking to photography when my uncle Lionel introduced him to photography at a very early age, and he seemed to be mesmerized and captivated by photography. Photography, of course, was much different then. You was developing film, you needed a studio. It was a true area for a craftsman, and my Uncle Kwame is that. He's a craftsman. When I think about his foray into that innocent introduction to photography and what it's led to, basically it led to him being the primary photographer to capture the Black is Beautiful movement.
Kwame Brathwaite's early exposure to the vibrant cultural Harlem, with its jazz clubs, art galleries, and political activism, deeply influenced his artistic sensibilities. In the late 1950s and early 1960s, Kwame co-founded the African Jazz Art Society and Studios alongside his brother, Nelmes Brath, and other like-minded individuals. AJASS served as a nexus for artists, musicians, writers, and activists, providing a platform for the exploration and celebration of Black culture.
He eventually also captured all sorts of high runway and fashion models also, but it was primarily the introduction of the Grandassa models and what AJASS gave us at that time, which led him into a whole celebrity culture. If we want to start talking about the Stevie Wonders, the Bob Marleys, the Muhammad Alis, you name it. And not only that, Motown was the label with the biggest stars in the world. And he was an exclusive sort of photographer for Motown. Even when the Motown had their theme restaurant in New York City, every last photograph in there was taken by Kwame Brathwaite. He was the exclusive photographer for that. And all of that happened because of what he gave us when he captured the Grandassa models, what he gave us with those photographs, the experience that we had, that we were given to the world at that time of showing our women in this light.
Through AJASS, Brathwaite organized and documented a series of iconic events, including the groundbreaking Naturally 62 fashion shows, which showcased African-inspired fashion and celebrated natural Black beauty at a time when Eurocentric standards prevailed.
Sometimes when you hear the stories about AJASS, sometimes people are like, I don't believe that, and pictures are sometimes worth 1,000 words. They can tell a whole lot more. And they also remind us of certain times in history and refresh our memories about what took place and what happened.
Although Brathwaite's work received limited recognition during his heyday, it experienced a resurgence of interest and acclaim in recent years, with retrospectives and exhibitions celebrating his legacy as a visionary artist and cultural icon.
So now we see the megastars today all taking an interest in his work, starting with Rihanna, publicly, talking about his photography and how it inspired her. Not only that, celebrity couples, Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats, not only purchasing artwork, but using it as part of the culture and design for their homes, being featured in digest magazines and things of that nature. We also look at other celebrities, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union, When Dwayne Wade's son was drafted into the G League, you can see my Uncle Kwame's 1968 photograph of the Grandassa models, topless, a convertible Cadillac, sitting right there in the background. And huge. We're not talking about an 8x10. We're talking about you know, almost what we would call life-size photography. So of course, when celebrities take to it, then naturally there is an interest in the rest of the culture. And you see that sort of today with the release of the book by Aperture Foundation, Kwame Brathwaite, Black is Beautiful, which encompassed all, not all, but a lot of the photography of that era. You know, when jazz was what rap is today, jazz was the biggest cultural art form that we have, and our greatest talents and musicians were from the jazz world.
Brathwaite's photography captured the spirit of the Black pride and nationalist movements of the era, showcasing the beauty, strength, and dignity of the Black community. His images, characterized by their intimacy and authenticity, became powerful visual symbols of resistance and empowerment.
Who would have thought that early inspiration from Marcus Garvey and Carlos Cooks, and Zachary Abdullah for one, he was one of the great actors from Porgy and Bess. And he was the first one who pulled my father and uncle to the side and started showing them or speaking to them about incorporating your art in politics and what, you know, will later, of course, become what people call the Black Arts Movement, using the political and the cultural nationalistic themes in the art, in our culture, to present in theater and whatever, you know, other art forms that would encapsulate it. But I mean, in 1956, just 8 years after their work with Zachary Abdullah, you know, here they are forming AJASS in my grandparents' basement at 751 Kelly Street in the Bronx, as well as some others. In a way, it was innocent, but we had the photography, you know, to capture it. And again, I say that a picture can be worth 1,000 words, and it's, what he did with that is so important. You know, to today, we see a rebirth, a revitalization, and an interest in it, and you know, it's a blessing.
Kwame Brathwaite's contributions to the representation and empowerment of Black culture and identity remain invaluable, cementing his place as a seminal figure in the chronicles of American photography and cultural history.
It's great to be joined by Black Rose, one of the founding members of the Grandassa models. And we go way back, even before that. We grew up in the same neighborhood. It's great to see.
Oh, we did?
Yes, yes. Yes, we did.
I know we went to the same school.
Went to the same school.
That's
yes,
right.
Yes.
Industrial art.
Industrial art, right. Yes.
Yes.
Gee, Black Rose, was it those some great times? And the fact that, you know, you were a cultural pioneer.
Yeah.
How does it feel to?
It's wonderful. Well, you know, our great ancestor Marcus Garvey, he said people with common goals and common ideas eventually meet in the fork of the road.
Yes.
And we met in the fork of the road.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, those shows were really groundbreaking, and they set a trend and an influence that's still with us today.
That's right.
Yeah, are there some experiences that you remember that stand out?
So many wonderful experiences, because we did what no one else had the courage to do.
Yes.
We were the first person, first brothers and sisters out here to advocate African beauty.
Yes.
Everybody else was doing the European thing.
That's right. Yes.
And we were advocating our ancestral beauty.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that was hard for them to accept.
Right.
Because they didn't know anything about it.
No, that's right. Yes,
You know?
yeah.
So we came along and we showed them what it was about.
Yes, yes. And what a lot of people do not understand is the strength that it took, and the commitment.
And the courage.
And the courage to go out there and be a pioneer.
That's right.
Yeah, it was not easy.
It was not.
Yes,
We had a lot of resistance.
Yes,
And
yeah.
even the beauty industry,
Right.
they were not very happy about
Yes.
us wearing our hair natural
That's
because they
right.
was losing money.
That's right. Yes.
You know.
Yes. Right.
So we were up against a lot.
Yes, we
On
were.
Our jobs.
Yes.
Some women lost their jobs.
You're right. Yes.
They weren't accepted wearing their hair natural.
Right.
And some husbands didn't like it also.
That's right. It's
You know,
because
families were sometimes upset about it as well.
right. Yes. Yes.
So,
yeah.
and it was a phenomenal time.
Yes. Yes.
Advocating our own beauty.
That's right.
Now, you know
right.
that's something.
Yes. Yes. We had been so conditioned to accept, other people's beauty standards, that when it came to recognizing our own, we fought against it.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our
And
great ancestor Marcus Garvey, he inspired us and
Yes.
inspired Mr. Cooks, Carlos Cooks.
that's right.
And
Yes.
Carlos took the baton.
Yes, he did.
And we've carried it on.
Right,
And we
that's-
took the baton.
That's right. We passed it on. Yes.
And now
yeah.
we're passing it on still
Yes.
to the next generation.
Exactly.
And the next generation will do
Right.
the same.
Right. And when I see women, Black Rose, today, I think about what you and your influence has had on them. They do not know. They just think, oh, it just happened, but it didn't. There were people who made sacrifices. Do you remember the first show that we did?
I do.
Yes, at
That
the
was
Purple
something
Manor.
else.
It
We
was.
wowed them.
Oh, didn't we? Yes,
I
that
mean,
was.
we packed the house.
we packed the
And the
house.
people were angry because they couldn't get
That's
in.
right.
And we had to do another
They had to
show.
do another show. That's
Oh,
right.
that was so. And then after that, it was hit.
Oh, yes.
Then it was. We had made our mark.
Yes, we did.
We
yes.
made our mark.
Right. And then the Grandassa models became in demand.
Yes.
People wanted.
Yes.
Because I believe that initially people came not expecting to see the professionalism.
Yes, right. And not expecting to see all those woolly hair.
Yes, right.
They couldn't.
Right.
They couldn't
Oh
fathom
no.
that.
Yes,
They
right.
never saw anything like that
That's right.
before.
Yes, and the style and the grace
yes,
and
we
the
did.
beauty. And when they saw that, it gave them strength and the courage. Because as I said to many people, I saw, because we developed a following.
Yes, we did.
And they would come back to show after show wearing their hair, their own hair.
That's right.
So that's right, yes.
It was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And we just flaunted it.
Yes. That's right. Black Rose, I am so elated at the response to Kwame Brathwaite's new book, Black is Beautiful. And as we all are aware, that Kwame chronicled the shows.
Yes,
he
he did.
became the fashion photographer.
Yes.
And his work is being recognized today, around the world. That book and its influence and, the meaning of it is so powerful that people are now reflecting. And I know at the time we were not aware of the impact and the lasting influence that it would have. But the response to his book, has been amazing. And just looking at those photographs and the traveling exhibitions and the response to it, it's really powerful.
Well, he dedicated his life
Yes, he did.
to advocate
Yes.
the beauty of we African people.
Yes, he did. That's right. Yes.
And it reflects that all through the book, and it shows those that are here and now, our present generations,
Right.
what we have done
Yes.
to inspire our people about our beautiful ancestral beauty.
Yes. Right. I
We are a
agree.
reflection of our ancestors.
Yes, we are. Right.
Yes.
Yes. And, somehow, oftentimes it takes when people see something in a book to make them really understand the power, what happened, that they might have taken it for granted.
That's why we have to document our legacy.
That's right. That's why it's so important to record it.
We won't learn it in school. You can have a PhD, a master's degree, and you still won't get that information. Our people won't know. So we have to advocate.
Right. That's right.
And tell our own story.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you know what I must say? I have to pat myself on the back. I have to say it. I was working in Revlon as a chemist and going out to Passaic, New Jersey, living in Washington Heights at the time. In the Bronx too, because I was at Revlon for quite a while.
Right.
Formulating products for European hair.
Yes.
And we accepted what would work from us, from what they were doing for themselves. We weren't doing any hair products for ourselves.
Right, it was true.
Not that many, not for natural hair.
No.
Right. So I decided to originate the specialization of the diversity of African hairstyles, realizing how beautiful our African beauty is. Yes. On the pyramids, you see our ancestors with their beautiful braids.
That's right, you see them, that's right. It's been there
then
for
doing
thousands.
research, you see the beautiful hairstyles from the many nations.
Yes.
The diversity of the nations of Africa and our customs and so much legacy we have.
Right.
And then as I started that business, specializing in our African hair, our beautiful woolly African hair, others, and it took off like wildfire.
I'm sure
I had no competition. No one else was doing it at the time. And so it took off like wildfire, and then other people became interested, and now today we have an industry of brothers and sisters from Africa and us here in the diaspora that specialize in our beautiful natural woolly African hair.
Yes, exactly.
And it's businesses that we are being self-sufficient, taking care of ourselves, making ourselves look beautiful, and making money, and being self-sufficient.
Yes, right.
And that's what it's about.
Yes, right.
Buy black.
Exactly, yes. And once again, we thought that it couldn't be done. But here again.
Like Marcus Garvey said, mind creates all that we desire in nature.
Yes.
We can have through the creation of our own mind.
Yes.
And that's what we did.
Right.
That's what we did.
Yes, yes. Because I remember, being in advertising.
Yeah.
How many of the black cosmetic companies, hair manufacturers said, "Oh, you're killing our business," but not understanding that hey, it's just a matter of making an adjustment, because here again they were feeding into that, and then when you look at the advertising in magazines and newspapers for these products, they really fought.
And back in ancient times, we bathed our bodies in goat's milk and precious oil.
Right.
And we've been doing that for centuries. So now we're back on track.
Exactly.
And we're doing it for ourselves now. Because we have to, whatever we need, we have to have it. We have to manufacture it for ourselves.
Sure, right.
Create jobs for ourselves as a result.
Right.
And that's what has happened.
Yes, yes. We have to be self-sufficient, and Garvey taught us that. Yes, and I agree 100%.